we are. It is time for the 2023 Sockys.
So, Adam, you know all the awards. I do not know any of them.
Yeah.
So,
I kind of forgot some of them.
I think how we're going to probably do it is Adam is going to say them. I'll give a reaction.
I'm going to say them.
And we can discuss, because obviously I don't know them.
All right. What award do you want to start with?
Let's start with a meaningless one.
All right, we'll do highest and lowest expectations.
All right.
For 2024. Highest expectations and pretty much a sweep. Trevor. Trevor had 10 to 12 votes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I voted for Trevor there. I think, he's always been so close. I think anything less than at minimum a finals appearance next year, it's kind of a disappointment. Obviously, a lot can happen between now and next January.
Yeah, and then the other people that got votes, Cherry got one and Ethan got one. I guess you can see Cherry with the 2 back-to-back number 1 overall picks being like, had a pretty good year this year. Adding more will probably help. Ethan, just a solid team in a pretty bad division. And the lowest expectations is James.
Okay.
James got 6 votes. He got half of them. And someone also just wrote names. So I think that means James.
So I believe I actually voted for Zach in this one. Because for me,
yeah.
I'm sitting there. He's won back-to-back championships.
I think I also voted Zach. I did.
Hey, great minds think alike.
Yeah, I think I was thinking the same thing of like, what did he have to prove?
Yeah, like, oh no, he has a down year. How terrible. He's still holding the trophy the entire time.
Yeah, I get the James point as well, as in like, probably be pretty bad. Doesn't have the strongest team right now. But again, we all voted like, who was it last year? Last year we all voted for...
I think it was like Steve.
Matt. But I think Steve also had votes. But
yeah.
By the time we got around to it, it was like, man, Steve's going to be bad. And he turned it around. But, yeah, Matt also had 3 votes. Zach had 2, and then Evan had 1. Next, we'll do the player you wish you had. The winner was Puka Nakua with 3 votes.
Yeah, I think what made that one of the most wanted people is that it wasn't like you had to go get a first for him or trade a ton for him. It was like you just had to outbid Trevor, and no one did.
Yeah, I think I definitely had a bid in for him, but I think I had bids in for like Tucker Craft more, and then that's where my fab went instead of Puka, which, oh great, and Luke Schoonmaker.
When we invent time travel, like, we're gonna wreak havoc.
Yeah, but this is the first year Jefferson did not win.
Look at that.
People that did get votes too. CD got 2. That's who I voted for, I think. Garrett Wilson, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra, Tyreek Hill, Ayuk, CMC, and CJ Stroud all also had some votes.
Would have been really funny if I put CJ Stroud and Trevor put Jalen Hurts. We'll talk about that more later.
Then we'll go to best social media. Griff took back the crown. Griff had 7, 8 votes.
I think I picked Trevor just for the spaces towards the end of the year.
Yeah, Trevor won it. Him and Trevor, Griff and Trevor tied last year. Zach won it the year before that, and then Griff had won it the first 2 years where Griff was on a streak, and he gets it back solely. I also got 2 votes, and Trevor also got 2 votes. Mine was also kind of just like Sock League Twitter. I don't know. I put out graphics and stuff sometimes, but
I do think Griff deserves it. He has like all the GIFs and stuff, or GIFs, however you want to say it, and he puts a lot of time and effort into it, and I think it paid off yet again here in the Sockys.
Indeed it did. We'll go matchup of the year next. The winner was the Trevor and Steve game.
I think that was a no-brainer.
Yeah, that one got 8 votes. James and Matt, the Battle for the Worst, got 1 vote. You and James, the Trade Arts matchup, got 1 vote, and then the championship also got 1 vote. And someone just refused to vote; they left it blank.
Who left it blank?
Jasmine. Jasmine didn't think anything was worth it.
He's like, fuck these matchups.
Yeah, but yeah, this is what I voted for. It was electric. I couldn't believe it. How much that would have changed the whole playoffs. How much?
Yeah.
Just last drive of the game. People on the space going crazy. Like
Steve is watching this right now, just like shut up, just
Yeah.
skipping through.
I don't know. I think it was one of the best matchups like of all time.
I think, yeah, I would say so.
Like we've had some really good close matchups. Like I think one time, I think it might have even been me, but someone lost to like Devontae Adams dropping like 40 on Monday night when they were up 39 or something. Like, and I was like, I got that. I don't know if it was me, but something like that happened in like year 2.
I mean, I lost a matchup against Griff where I needed like 3 points from Emmanuel Sanders, got like 2.8.
The whole like Kamara matchup last year with
Oh
you
my-
and Griff,
yeah,
where it was
so-
like, did he win?
It was
Who
like,
won?
okay, so Kamara,
Fumble or whatever, recovered the fumble, and it's like, does he get the yards? Yeah, it was weird.
it was weird. I don't know.
Yeah, and last year I forgot to do matchup of the year, but glad it's back, and it was good. Next, we'll go to the most obvious one, ad of the year, clean sweep by Puka.
Yeah. Second award for Puka. You know, nothing to be said there. I think we've kind of beaten that dead horse.
Yeah. Then the trade you think about the most. There was, I think the winner, someone also left this one blank. Matt didn't think about a trade at all. There were some good ones. I think the winner was the DeAndre Hopkins and Waller for 2 firsts with 4 votes. I think.
Yeah, that's a fair one.
Looking back at it, yeah, you do think, why? And then he blew it up right away after, or not right away, but like 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
And Hopkins is not young.
He's no Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, and then the Dak Burrow trade got 3 votes. I think that's what I voted for because I was also involved in it. Plus, it did have an impact on the championship.
Yeah.
I think that was a pretty big one. Tanner Hudson for Isaiah Likely got a vote.
Yeah, it doesn't look great on my end.
The Najee trade and the Dobbins trade, just like all those picks for those running backs. And then
We asked for 1 trade. You gave us 2.
Hurts for Stroud in a third.
I think I put that one. I
Yeah,
couldn't think of
so.
anything, so I just put it.
Yeah, but new one, and yeah, gotta think about trades. Now we'll just go to the whole draft. We'll start with the draft bust. That was me with Quentin Johnston. Got 8 votes. Kendra Miller got 3. Zach Charbonnet got 1. I think I've said.
I don't know if I would have put. I don't think Sharp ever crossed my mind for this. He put up a few good weeks, but I think you also knew going into it like they already have Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I think there was just like pretty high expectations for him. Like he was looked at as like the third or fourth best running back in the class by most, and then didn't really show it. Kendra Miller basically did nothing the whole year until week 18, and then Quinn Johnston ended up getting opportunities and did not do much with it. So I think it was very fair.
It's a receiver that you drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The draft steal goes to Sam Laporta. It was a pretty close one between Laporta at 204 and Tank Dell at 212.
I forget which one I picked.
If you had a guess, who would you have picked?
I want to say I said Laporta, but I think going into it, I did Tank Dell. But then I saw Laporta, I was like, that's right, that was kind of a steal. I want to say I said Laporta.
You voted for Tank Dell.
Oh, okay. No. You know.
I voted Laporta, I believe. I think he, like, it's always tough because it's like he was picked 8 picks later, Tank Dell. So it's like, man, that is a little bit of a better steal. But Laporta was tight end 1 on the year.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you see a player finish as the number 1 overall when they're drafted? Sometimes with running backs, like never at tight ends.
Yeah, usually tight ends, you're not seeing production out of them until their second year.
And if we redraft right now, like, who do you think goes higher?
Kelsey or Laporta?
No.
Oh, Tank Dell. Or...
If we did the 2023 draft right now, and you're on the clock with pick whatever,
Probably
and both of them are
Laporta.
there, who are you taking? I think I'd also take Laporta, and I think that's kind of why he won.
I think it would be pretty close, though. Like, they wouldn't be more than, like, 2 picks apart.
Yeah, I don't
At
know.
least in my eyes.
And best draft award goes to Matt. Matt got 6 votes. Griff got 5, and someone voted for nobody.
Who voted for nobody?
I think it might have been Griff. Griff voted for no one. No best draft. But, yeah, Matt pulled it out. Matt definitely...
I think I said Griff. I want to say that
I think you said Matt.
I did this last week. It's also damn near tomorrow, so...
You voted for Matt. Ryan doesn't know who he voted for.
Again,
Clearly not too confident with who you
this
chose.
is 6 days ago, man. A lot of shit has happened.
I also voted for Matt. I think obviously the Laporta pick, but Griff, it is funny, both of the draft steals are the 2 people that were being talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then JSN, who honestly was kind of disappointing, and I almost put him on most disappointing, but like people like JSN, so I think he still has value. Like people are still like, he's like a top 12 guy. Bad situation or whatever, but he scored some touchdowns, had a few good games, good plays, but I think was kind of disappointing. But then even Charbonnet, also a little disappointing, but then I think he hit it out of the park later. Like Rashee Rice looks really good. Laporta looks good. Bryce Young, like I don't know. I think he had some really good hits, some okay, and some misses. Had a decent amount of picks, but I think it like really added a lot of value to his team. So I think that's kind of why I went with Matt. Of you got guys that he was able to like plug and play pretty easily. Next we'll go to the unluckiest season. That was taken home by Evan. Evan got 7 of the votes.
Yeah. I took Evan. I'm pretty damn certain I picked Evan. Just because, obviously, you don't control injuries. You know, it is really a luck-based thing.
Yeah. Ethan also got 2 votes. Matt got a vote. Trevor got a vote. And Jasmus got a vote. I think I voted for Ethan. So someone else agreed with me. But...
Because of going into the playoffs.
Yeah, like, I think you did everything right. You had a really good year. And then it's like trade deadline passes. And then it's like, oh, Keenan Allen isn't playing. Chase is, like, banged up. Your whole team that, like, got you there all fell apart when you kind of needed them the most. And it's like, man, like, the timing was way worse, where it's like, at least for Evan, it's like, rip the Band-Aid off and get out of there. Like, yeah, it's week 4, my whole team's dead. Lost season, where Ethan, it's like, you had a whole great season, got to the playoffs, got the bye, and then it's like, no one was around to put anything together for you. I get Trevor unlucky with another finals loss.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jasmus and Matt also got some votes.
They were considered.
Most disappointing season also goes to Evan.
Yeah. I think I put Jasmus for this.
You did.
Yeah. Because I was like, you had the undefeated season, you're looking to try and get your revenge, and you kind of just made the playoffs by default and then bowed out early.
Yeah.
Evan, I could also see is disappointing because I think his team had a lot of hype. He added a couple guys.
Yeah, Evan had 4 votes. Someone said it's always Evan.
Who put that?
Take a guess.
I'm gonna go with Trevor.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Trevor. No, it was Griff. Wow. Well, we got a good Trevor quote later. That'll come up. But yeah, I think Evan was definitely he definitely crossed my mind. I also had 2 votes. Jasmine had 2 votes. James had 2 votes. Matt had a vote, and you had a vote. So this was like
for me.
I did.
Oh, fuck you.
I was like, you went in and you had like, man, maybe I'll be a little bit better this year, and then you weren't, and then so it's like, yeah, that's a little disappointing. And then you were gonna get pick 1, and then you lost that. So I was like, man, like, you didn't even do good in the season, and then you didn't even do bad good. You weren't even good at being bad, so I was like, yeah, man, ended at pick 3. It's like, oh, I'm sure you're probably disappointed with how the season went. So that's why I voted for you. Evan did bad, but it was like, guys got hurt. Did bad, and then didn't even get the guy in Mar.
I should have put Ethan for this because I think he mentioned John Metke last year, and I was like, man, fuck you.
But yeah, that's why I went with you. But that was, I think, the most spread out of kind of vote that we had all year. Next, most improved. This one was brought home by Steve.
Yeah. And then who left it blank?
Jasmine.
Brother, did you even do the thing?
I guess must have just missed a few. He probably did it like at work and didn't pay attention. But yeah, Steve got 8 votes. Steve got my vote. Cherry also had 3, which I think is fair. He was the number 1 overall pick last year, and then I got 2.
Yeah, I definitely picked Steve.
Yeah, but I think Cherry was also a good shout. But I think Steve just like, we thought he was going to be horrible.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yeah, like we were like, he might not like break 100 all year, let alone win a game. Then he made the playoffs with a winning record. Like, I think well deserved. And then going into that, owner of the year, a new thing I also kind of added. I just wanted different for manager, like someone that like built up their whole team kind of like for the future, for the whole start of the year, rather than like manager of the year, which up until like the past 5 years that we've had this, every year it's just the champ. So I kind of wanted like another one to showcase someone that, because I think Trevor said it once maybe, or Griff, or someone said it, but it was like a pretty good point that I've also kind of thought of. Like, most of the time the person that wins like manager of the year probably should have won it the year before, because it's like, oh, that's when Zach got all these draft picks, made all these trades, got CMC, and then the next year he just set his lineup.
Yeah.
And then it was like, what did he really do that year? He should have won it the year before. But I think that's kind of what I was hoping for with this one, like who set themselves up really good. And the winner was Steve with 8 votes. I got 2 votes, and Cherry also got 2 votes. I did vote for Steve, just again.
He was supposed to be bad, and he wasn't.
And wasn't.
So yeah, another one I think that is well deserved.
Manager of the year, the big one, went to Griffin. First time a champion has not won it. And I think that maybe that has to do with, again, Zach just running back the same lineup. He did make the Dak trade, did make a few trades, but I think Griff went out and made more, had the good draft to add the Tank Dells, the Josh Downs, got Swift, got did he get Ayuk this year or last year? I don't remember.
You definitely got him.
Like, got Kyler, like, made the trades to get there, had the best overall season record-wise, like, was just dominant throughout the year, didn't get it done in the playoffs, but he finished with 2, 4, 5 of the votes.
Yeah, I did pick Griff. Believe that.
You did.
I did.
I also voted for Griff. Other people that got votes, Zach got 3, Trevor got 2, and Steve got 2. So Steve got a lot of recognition in these awards this year.
I think at least when you look at Manager of the Year this year, you see Griff hit on a good number of the low-end draft picks. You know, your Downs, your Dell. Made good trades. And also, if you look at the statistics on the app, he, I think, was the best person at setting their best lineup.
I don't 100% know how to check that, but we'll see what he was at. He was at 86%, which is the highest I've seen. No, Trevor was at 88.
Okay.
But yeah, up there.
Up
Maybe
there.
second highest or something. But yeah.
I mean, despite the fact that he did lose in the semifinals, does not change that he went 12-2.
Yeah. I thought it was just a really good year. I thought he did a lot of everything right, and then just didn't have it at the right time, which is unlucky. And then the Nate Award.
Oh, this is the one I've been waiting for.
Jasmus goes back to back. Jasmus got 4 votes. You got 3 votes.
Oh man,
Runner up for the Nate Award.
Almost got the Nate Award.
Rocky got a vote.
That was
I think
me.
that was you.
Yeah.
Matt got a vote.
What gave it away? The fact that the Rocky went as Rocky for his big leap that may or may not have came out.
Yeah. And then Nate actually got 2 votes. Nate from the dead got 2. But yeah, I thought this was
Who voted for me?
Me, whoever, Evan and someone, James.
You know what?
You got some love.
Yeah, I got some love.
Got some love from the guys.
I was that close to my first
Socky. 6 years in, no Sockys.
No Sockys yet.
Is crazy.
But I would rather have no Sockys and have like 3 most disappointings, you know?
I do have some of those. I do have a manager of the year.
But you see, that's fine. But like, if I'm walking out of here this year and I'm like, man,
I got my first most disappointing.
Or like, you know, draft bust. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? Maybe I'm waiting for that big year where maybe next year I take the Nate Award.
I think you've been waiting for the Nate Award. Yeah, and then anything else? This was you. At least one Sock Dog host must make the playoffs.
Yeah.
You wanted that added. Someone said Orca Cocoon. I don't know what that is.
we got to expose them.
I think it was Ethan. There's Cherry.
Because it was like you had the AI image of like the orca coming out of the cocoon.
Oh, true.
And then we were like, yeah, he's the orca cocoons.
I think the first time I read that, I also did not read that. There was too many like letters that looked the O's and C's all looked the same, so I was just like, ooh, or something like that. And then Drew Lock Twitter Space guest game is the best game of Sock League history, which I do agree.
Yeah.
That one might be Ethan because Drew Lock, he does love his Drew Lock. Oh, Griff. Everyone I've been like, probably this guy.
Griff.
Has been wrong.
It's just been Griff.
True. For the love of God, change the divisions.
I don't think we need to know. You have to check who that one is.
Yeah. Someone said it's 2024 and the War Eagles are still 2 years away.
All right, that one, I'm guessing that was James.
Yeah.
That was James.
Ryan still can't stand the Cran success.
Fuck you.
Someone said, oh, this is just Zach. I'll maybe sell everyone on my team. I have a strong offer for CMC that I'll accept in 10 days if I get no cohorters. I assume that means counters, but a mistype. And then someone said, I'm thinking we should make an Anteaters award. It would be given to the team in the league with the most complaints about an injury to a player who has been injured every year of his career but still acts surprised when it happens again.
Trevor.
You think so?
Let's check.
It is. But yeah, that was a funny one. I did laugh at that. And then I don't know if this ever got out, but it was our predictions for the awards. I have mine written down. You probably don't have yours.
Absolutely not.
But preseason, I said Ethan for Manager of the Year. Midseason, I said Griff. I was right about Griff with the midseason one. Disappointing season, I said Jasmus at the start of the year, and then I said Trevor, Evan, or Jasmus probably. It was Evan. Preseason for best draft, I said Matt or Griff. It was Matt. Midseason, I did switch to just Griff, though. Draft steal, preseason, I said Luke Musgrave or Tajay Spears. halfway through I said Laporta, Dell, or Spears. It was Laporta, and it was the
Laporta.
two guys with the votes. Draft bust start of the year, I said Quentin Johnston. Called that one. Also said maybe A-Chain or Mingo. So why did I draft him if I thought he was going to be a bust? World may never know, but the upside. For ad of the year, start of the year, I said Puka or Deuce or Trey Palmer. I was right about Puka. Midseason, it was already clearly Puka. Social media of the year, I said you. That's when we thought you were going to win games and actually post stuff. And
Yeah,
then,
it turns out your response to my video was a little bit more accurate.
and then, yeah, Griff midseason. Griff got it.
Actually, no, you were spot on because you said all this. Oh, no, you said 4 wins. Well, I technically got 4, but...
For most improved, preseason, I said Ethan. Because I was like, man, probably get the bye, be pretty dominant. Midseason, I said Ethan or Steve. Was Steve. Preseason for unluckiest, I said Evan. It's always Evan.
Always has been.
My guess for player you wish you had was Jefferson, because it's always Jefferson. But no, it was Puka.
Puka.
And then my guess for the Nate Award was Rocky. But instead, we had Jasmine go back to back.
Back to back.
But yeah, those are the awards. Fun year.
Maybe next year I'll win one.
Really funny. We gotta never let you in. You can have the best season ever, and it's like manager of the year. It's like, I don't know. No, we'll give it to Zach, I guess.
Owner of the year, just Griff.
Griff, yeah.
Most disappointing.
Most improved. It's like, we'll give it to Trevor.
Like I went from pick 3 to the championship. What do you do? What do you mean?
Trevor misses the playoffs. That's what I'm wondering. When does the league turn into that of like high school superlatives of like you vote for the person that doesn't deserve it? Most improved is like
Zach after
James
selling.
this year made the playoffs last year and then was like bottom. Most disappointing season. It's like Zach because he won it again. Nah, the awards are good.
Like, guys,
Awards are fun.
I'll take a highest expectations. I don't care. Just
Well, we don't want to lie. It'll be funny if you sweep like all the worst awards next year.
it's gonna be
Draft bust,
great. Yeah.
disappointing season, and lowest expectations. Ryan's like, yay, it's fun winning Sockys.
I'd like to go back to 0, please.
Yeah, but it is also, Griff won. Griff is the first person to get a second manager of the year. Is he our GOAT? GOAT manager? Not Zach, who has 2 championships, but yeah.
It's Jordan versus LeBron.
I do think it's also, we've only had one person repeat as the best draft, so it seems to be up in the air. That's James. Draft steal, again, kind of been all over the place. Matt has won it twice, both times with Lions. Laporta and Amon-Ra. Don't let Matt draft a Lion.
Whoever the Lions draft this year, grab him.
Yeah. Ad of the year, Trevor got it for his 3rd time, so Trevor can find those guys. Won it with Nick Chubb. and DJ Chark. And yeah, obviously Griff gets a lot of the social media love. Matt didn't win lowest expectations 3 years in a row. Trevor did win highest 2 years in a row. So, and Jasmine has more Nate Award wins than Nate. Jasmine is not real.
Jasmine is just not real.
Yeah, but man, it's always
Imagine
fun doing.
only having 9 hours of film on Jasmine.
It's always fun doing the awards. Always funny when I get those extra comments from people just making fun of people. Yeah, so that wraps it up. I guess the official wrap on this season.
Yeah.
Had the recap last time, and now got the awards out.
Advanced League.
Once everybody pays Zach. That was
Who hasn't paid yet?
I think a few people. The last I heard, it was like 2 or 3
All right,
people.
I physically cannot at the moment. My Venmo is suspended. You were here when it got hacked, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I told them to let me know once people paid. If it's just you, then maybe I'll advance it because
I'll mail Zach cash.
I see you enough to enforce it physically if I have to.
Like,
I'll go rob your house. But yeah, I just want. That's usually what I wait for. Once everybody pays, then I advance the league, just so that person gets their money. Everybody pays, and we move on.
Yeah.
So that was the answer to Trevor's question.
Adam watched me lose like $1,500 in seconds.
Yeah, 500 to TikTok.
Something. Right, we're about to record. I think it was like the first round of the playoffs. So I'm like, what the fuck is this?
There goes all my money. Sweet. So Zach, you'll get that soon.
Yeah.
I think one of the people told me they get paid like Thursday and are just gonna pay them once they get paid. So I was like, that makes sense. So that would be tomorrow or 3 days ago, whenever this gets or 2 years. It is the off season. 2 months ago. Ryan sometimes gets these out.
Yeah, man. Sometimes they come out, sometimes they don't. All right?
The world might never see again, but who knows? And then hopefully everybody's paid, and then I'll advance, and then we'll get into it. But let's talk about these rule changes. Coming up next. Let's get into these rule changes, or stays the same as.
Just read it.
So the buy-in staying the same, still going to be 75.
Okay.
Payout structure staying the same. 750 to first, 140 to second. $10 goes to buying the nameplate on the trophy. And I think that went up too. I think it was $11 this year. So.
Ugh, we're getting taxed the fucking back.
Yeah, I had to eat $1.
All right, guys. Everyone send Adam 9.5 cents.
Divisions. We're keeping them the same.
Sorry, Evan.
Yeah, this was pretty unanimous. Some of these were pretty close. Some of them were pretty not close.
Yeah. You want to say what the split was?
10 to keep same, 2 to change.
What was one of the changes that was requested?
Wait, what?
There was one that was changed. There was one who gave you an idea.
Oh, yeah. And it's always Ryan giving me the worst ideas ever that aren't real. He had 24 divisions, with some divisions having no team.
It was 6 divisions of 2 teams.
Playoff format. This one, we are having a change. We used to have top 3 from each division. Now it's top 2, and then the next 2 best teams, obviously by record.
Yeah, but now that we've changed that, it's going to be just the top 3 from each division.
I do think that'll probably happen some of the time. But again, your division, especially last year, was better.
It just avoids the Mickey Mouse division stuff.
Yeah, 4 from a division can get in. The thing I hope the most that happens is Evan's like the 3 seed in your division, but my division's somehow really good, and Evan doesn't get in as the 3 seed, and my division has 4 get in.
Why does everyone want bad things?
I just think that'd be really funny.
Okay,
A big proponent of the change of the divisions and how he always got screwed by being the 4th team. That if he got screwed as the 3 team after he switched, I think would be good humor. I feel really bad, but I'd also probably laugh.
I would feel terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, now Evan, you just need to be the 4th, and I think this will be good for like end of the year. It'll be funny, like tracking playoff paths. It's like you might be 3rd in your division, or like I'm 3rd in mine, and it's like, so I'm a game behind like Steve for the 2 seed, but then I'm also a game behind like you for the last wild card. So it's like if either of them lose, I could get in, but then like I don't know.
It'd be really funny if there's like a scenario for you where it's like, okay, if I win, I pick my opponent in the first round, and if I lose, I miss the playoffs.
Oh yeah, that could happen like any time, but a lot of fighting for that like the last spot. It's like, or it could be I need to win this wild card, or like again, if it is like this year, or if it's like even worse than what this year was, where it's like somehow your division all is like 10 wins, and it's like you two are fighting there, and it's like I have no shot for the wild card, but I have a shot for number 2 in my division. Like, there's different playoff outcomes, so it'll be fun to track. Probably gets it even more confusing when I'm like, this person's eliminated if this person but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I think it's a cool idea. Wild cards more NFL-y than just straight divisions, but still keeping the divisions that we grew up with.
Yeah.
The trade deadline is moved to the end of the regular season. This one I think is interesting. I see all sides of it. I think no trade deadline could be cool. That did have a few votes. Some people wanted to keep it. Most was just like move it back a week, where now it's like, you're going to the playoffs. You could stock up right before you get in there. Obviously, like, the thing is, people are still going to make trades of that, like, week 12 to be like, well, if I just win one more game, I'm in. Let me go get this guy now, compared to just waiting. So I don't think it really is going to trade too much or change too much. Just maybe a few trades that last week a team thought they were going to get in and kind of fell out, and it's like maybe right at that moment they're like, here, take Saquon, take McCaffrey, take Justin Herbert, I don't know, whoever.
That's going to be a long-ass week 15 sock talk next year.
Maybe.
Yeah, we're going to have the trade deadline and the first round of the playoffs.
The playoff episodes are kind of like shorter because less matchups.
I think
no power rankings.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
We'll see. I could talk for 3 hours.
I'm well aware that you could do that.
But yeah, moving it back, no trade deadline I think is very interesting. I see a lot of people on like Twitter being like, you're an idiot if it doesn't have a trade deadline. Because I get the point. Again, like Ethan this year at the end of the season in the playoffs, it's like he still had a few picks, could have traded some of those guys to make a run. Trevor could have traded for a tight end in the championship game to
not be starting Tyler Conklin.
Yeah. And again, it's like, if you go to Trevor's school of leverage, it's like, if you're the rebuilding team, you have all the leverage there. I don't need to give you this tight end. Like, you want it. You're the one trying to win a championship, so then you maybe make them trade a little bit more, and then if they're going all in, it's like, you could buy a championship, but get rid of so much value doing it that then it's like, oh, next few years, you're kind of screwed. Because I just paid 2 firsts for Travis Kelce week 17, and now the second that matchup's over, it's like, I'm barely getting a first for 35-year-old Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's still worth it if you win the championship, but if not, then it's like, man, what a bad trade. Or you make the trade, and then the guy that you would have started outscores him, and you feel like an idiot.
I feel like week 14 is kind of the nice middle there, where it's like, say you have a guy, and he gets hurt week 14 at the 1 o'clock game, so now you have like 36 hours to go get a replacement for the playoffs, instead of it being like, he gets hurt week 14, it's like, well, guess I'm losing my first game.
Yeah. So I think that's good. I don't know. I think it just opens up more windows, but then if there's no trade deadline, but I just think it's interesting. I don't know. I think I forgot what I actually said for this one. But yeah, end of the regular season.
Yeah.
Draft order, we are keeping by record. Not going to max points 4. That only had like 2-3 votes, something like that. It was pretty unanimous. Some people just like the kind of like realism of the,
you do bad.
Yeah, if you just even like get unlucky, you could still have a good pick. It's like, man, I had such a rough schedule, didn't make the playoffs, got in, compared to the other way. And also like the making decisions part of it. So yeah, keeping that the same. We did vote to have a super flex. Going to change the 3rd flex spot that we're adding this year to a super flex, starting in 2027.
It's not a real year.
Not a real year. We can't even trade those picks yet. I think it's always hard to change to a Superflex, but I think this is pretty fair. No one seems to really have any complaints with it. Like, I've seen some like dispersal draft ideas and stuff, and like taxes for having multiple quarterbacks, but
should we punish a team that has 2 good quarterbacks?
I think it's just also being 4 years away. Again, I said some of those over-unders. Like, how many people in our league are going to be married by that point? It's like we could have half of the league married. We'll probably at least have Jasmine. Will we have someone divorced? Married and then divorced by then?
There's 3 lines. One that Adam just made right now. We're going to do over 0.5 divorces. Over 3.5 marriages and over 4.5 kids.
I think I might bump that up to 4.5.
4.5 marriages?
Yeah. Because I feel like there's a few people. Obviously, like, Jasmine is like this summer. Like, he'll be done before the season.
Yeah. Still waiting for my invite.
Then it's like, there's a few other people. I don't know, like, everybody's relationship status of the people that I haven't seen in forever. But I know some other people are like in relationships, living with significant others. And that's usually a step on that direction where it might not be this year, but maybe 2 years, 3 years. But it's also, I think it's just crazy that that could happen.
But we're gonna go with over 0.5 divorces, and what would we say, over 2.5 kids?
Yeah, because I think that's a little bit tougher too. Because it's like, I guess I don't know what everybody's gonna do.
Who actually knocks somebody up
to get married before, but like I think that's normal progression. You move in, then get married, then have a kid. But it's also like takes 9 months to cook up a kid. So it's like even if it's like on the way, come 2026 might not be there in time for when Superflex is added. It'd be really
funny if, like, 2 people have kids and then, like, one league mate, their kid is born the day before the season starts.
We could just hit, like, triplets.
Yeah, we really could. It's like, hey, we're having a baby. And then 9 months later, it's like, we got 3 babies. We're like,
3.
We're like, wow, over was so free.
Yeah, it's just nuts. It'll also be like the 9th year of our league, or no, the 10th, because we started the 2028 season. Wait,
the
2018 season was our first year, and this will be the 10th year because we're at 6 now, and then 24, 25, 26 will be 7, 8, 9.
Our 10th year is going to be.
And then our 10th year is when we're making the switch,
Superflex.
Which is also crazy.
Yeah, dude.
I was also looking at it, and it's like we're as close to COVID starting as we are to adding a Superflex, basically. I was like almost the champion when how long it is. Like, it's such a long time, but I also think like you need that. Like, the value does change so much that, like, again, the elite QBs are going to be like the highest valued assets up there with like the Jefferson, the Chases, the CDs, and like the elite RBs, the CMCs, again, when he's a little bit younger, and the, like, Bijans, Breeses, if they're, like, blowing it out of the water. It's such a big change that, like, it definitely needs time. This way we have 4 draft cycles, and I think the 4th one is pretty big, too, because if you did trade away all your picks, not thinking it, you'll at least have 1 year where, if you want to, you can keep your pick and make that pick. So it's like everybody the year before will at least have a fair shot of having their own pick if they want to, because we're just getting them after we do the draft this year. So it's not like, oh, I traded all my picks so I couldn't draft someone to make this change. And I also think it'll be just very interesting on, like, how does the league change.
Yeah, and I think we are going to touch up on that in our last segment.
Yeah, so I'll just save that for then. Then we are adding a tight end premium, going to 1.25. And I'm just also going to add in 2027. This was a little close. Like, some people wanted to just keep the same. Some said 1.25, some said 1.5. So I said I'll kind of meet it in the middle of, because some people didn't want it. So it's like, again, it's not a huge difference. Like, again, what, 100 catches is like.
It just means the 4 tight end set is so much more likely.
Yeah, again, 80 catches is what, like 20 more points?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 100, it's like 25. whatever. Like, it's not like a huge change. It's not like tight ends are going to be the craziest thing ever now, but it does give a little more boost, especially to like some of those like really good ones that are involved a lot. And
Your Cole Kmets, your Tanner Hudsons, your Drew Samples, your Irv Smiths,
yeah,
your
and
Taysom
then
Hills.
this was voted like some people wanted it next year, some said 2025, 2026, 2027, and some were just like, I don't want this. Like, I figure we just make the full change in 2027 because there was really no like majority here. It was like 3 years. 3 people wanted this year, 3 people wanted this year, 2 people wanted this year, 1 person wanted this year, 2 people wanted this year. It was all over the place. So I said, we'll just keep everything the same for these next 3, and then everything added in 2027. I think it'll be also very interesting there. Obviously not as big of a change compared to the Superflex one. Like, yeah, some of these tight ends will probably get a little bit more bump in value, but it's not like you're going from the 80th ranked player to the 1st. You're going here, maybe you're like 40 and now you're 33. Like a little boost, stuff like that. And finally, the whole Hearts trade situation. And then me and you have already had this conversation.
We've been having this conversation for a while now. Let's read some league responses.
Yeah, I'll talk about this. Someone said, add some sort of like jackpot that part of the buy-in goes to. Not sure what would trigger it. Maybe back-to-back championships. If you go undefeated all the way through the championship, like something like that. So I don't know. Maybe you take $5, $10 out each year, and like it continues to build until someone does something. I think that could be interesting. I don't know. I think it's also tough because I kind of like the idea too of some of these, like, that's why I threw it out here. I was like, let the regular season champ get something. You just went undefeated. At least you get like, or not undefeated, but you were number 1. You at least get your buy-in back. Something like that. Some like, I don't know, if you're the high scoring week, you get stuff. But then it's like you need to have such a big buy-in to actually like.
Yeah, we'd have to go to like at least $300.
Like if you're doing it every week, again, this you could probably get done. But then it also makes, like, what if you took some $60 out each year, then first place gets like
$710, something like that.
No, like $690 or something. If you take out 10, then it's still like $630 or something. So like it's still a good amount of money that you want to win, and then if it takes 4 years to trigger whatever it happens, it adds. You get an extra $400 or $500 if it takes like 4 years. If it takes 10, you get an extra 1,000 or whatever. Like depending, I don't know. If people in the league want this, then cool. Just say it, and then maybe if there's enough interest, I'll have a vote, and we'll kind of see. Or I'll just bring this up. I'll keep this in mind for next year too. For those rule changes. Obviously, Zach will be like, we couldn't have had this the past few years. Where he went back to back. If it was back to back, we haven't had someone go undefeated all the way through, right?
Nope, we had Jasmus go undefeated regular season,
but not win the championship.
Not win the championship.
Yeah, maybe that would be a good idea.
I was even saying like,
you're undefeated in the playoffs, and everybody's like, please beat this guy. I want to be the one to go undefeated. Or imagine how mad you are. You like lose to someone like week 1 and then go undefeated all the way out, and you're like.
Like, imagine being like the number 1 team and losing to the worst team in like week, I don't know, 5. Another idea I think I brought up, I read this with you probably, Monday night, I believe, this week. So, like, 3 months ago. I was saying have, like, just like a little bit of money set aside, be like, oh, if you break the highest score ever, it's like $5.
Yeah, thought about that a little, but then the main issue with that is like with us adding a flex, it's like
the highest score ever could change.
Yeah, pretty weekly now. That or not, maybe not weekly. I don't know if one flex is gonna bring
The
people
sup-
from
the super
150, but yeah, especially when we add that, it could, like, scores right now, like really good scores are around 150. Then like the bad scores are 70s and whatnot. When you add the super flex and this like extra flex and everything, it's like those good scores might be averaging more like 170, 180, and then it's like the possibility if you have two QBs go for 35 compared to
A flex
Rondale
going.
Moore scoring 4 in your flex. Like,
I mean, it's better than Pierre Strong scoring 2 in my RB2.
unless you want to lose. Which I'm just gonna talk about tanking as a whole for a little, and then the trade situation as well. I think it's tough
It is.
because it was pretty split. There was like 4 very against, a few people just kind of like maybes, and like 4 or 5 like, yeah, this should be legal. So it was like up in the air. I think it's, and then also people are like, yeah, this is why we should do max points, but max points also only got like 2-3 votes. Zach wrote a very intense paragraph.
Let's read it. Let's read what he said.
No. But he was like, I'm going through max points in his other, he's going through max points in his other league, and he doesn't need that. See, we don't have, there's not people being ducks in here. I'm sure he meant dicks, but he
Or
put
fucks.
Being fuck. No, I think it was dicks. About tanking, yeah, but he likes the realism aspect of it, which I think I talked about a little bit before. So I think that was fair. And then, yeah. I think it's good. I could see why people are against it. It's like, man, I was gonna win, and then you traded this thing away for nothing, and you didn't start anybody, and now I lost. I think this also leads to questions of, one, I think this is gonna change, because I think with quarterbacks, their value is going to continuously go up over the next few years. So there's probably not going to be like starters on the waiver wire. And if you're starting 2, it's like you're going to want to keep these good QBs, where 1 QBs are kind of like whatever. It's like if you have a really good one, it helps. But what's the difference between clearly like Joe Flacco and CJ Stroud? Like, they're scoring very similar unless you have the Josh Allen or the Jalen Hurts or Mahomes of a few years ago, not even like this year. It's like, it's really, what's the difference? Kirk Cousins gets the job done.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's going to be a little bit bigger when it's like, oh, I'm starting 2, and there's only 14, 15 good ones. It's like, do I want Mac Jones in my QB2? No. So I think it'll be kind of like less trades that way and less people on the waivers. But I think the question is also, is it like illegal for someone to not have a spot in their lineup? Which I say, if you have someone to play, yeah, they should be in. You can't sit anybody. But for like, I don't know, if it's a QB or, yeah, if it's a QB and now it's super flex and everybody has a bunch of QBs and now you have 2 or whatever, you have 3. One's hurt, one's on a bye, and you have 1 left, and it's Gardner Minshew. And it's like, yeah, you want to play Gardner Minshew because he's your starting QB, so you put him in there. If I offered you 5 firsts for Gardner Minshew,
yes.
But like, should you have to say no because then you don't have a starting QB? If all 3 of your QBs are hurt and you don't have one that's playing, and there's none on the waivers, are you forced to trade for a QB? I don't think so. Like, I don't think you should be forced to trade for, like, I don't want to tell people that they have to run their teams this way. I think, obviously, if there's one on the waivers, you should attempt to pick it up. If not, that's, I think, a little bit shady. But also, if the person you're playing picks it up and bids more than you, it's not your fault. I think you should try to set a full lineup, but if I traded away every QB on my roster and there were none on waivers, like, do I have to trade for one? But I also think that's just hurting me. We're switching to Superflex and I don't have a QB. Or if we're in Superflex and I don't have a QB, like, well, and I think that's also like kind of what the strategy becomes in max points for. I got to get all these points off my roster. I don't want QBs that actually play. I want to have DTR and
Davis Mills.
Yeah, Davis Mills. Like, I'll start my backup. I'll put him in there. But, like, he probably won't get in. Maybe he'll take a knee or something.
Loses points. That's even better.
Jameis will hand off to
Jamal Williams
to get Arthur Smith furious or something.
Oh, you mean fired?
That too. But first furious, then fired. So I think, like, it's tough in that situation of then you could just trade the person to then have that open slot. Because I think it's fine to not start someone if you don't have an option. Like, I don't think you're forced to trade for someone is what my main point of saying here. I also think, again, Trevor's school of leverage again. If you're making that trade, it's either this person is desperate to lose this week because they want pick 1. So now this person's trading this QB, receiver, running back for so cheap that, like, you're losing value. Like, you're making you could be making a bad trade because you don't have any of the leverage here. So I could be like, yeah, man, I'll give you just a single pick for this guy. And you're like, I don't want to do that. He's worth like 2 firsts. But I want to lose. So it's like a big decision. Yeah, if this guy overpays, that's not smart.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's an interesting thing too.
I think, at least in the scenario that we're talking about, which was the Hurts for Stroud in the third, part of it there was like, okay, Stroud is young, he's doing really well, but then on the rushing upside there's a third. I lose that game. I make an easier path to pick 1 for myself, getting Marvin Harrison, who right now looks really good. That being said, when I'm right, it's late and I work today. To kind of explain my thought process for that day, I got the trade probably like 3 o'clock, 3:30. I saw it when I was leaving work. So I got the trade. I was like, man, that's a trade. And I sat there and I thought about it, and I was texting Adam. It was 8:14 p.m. 1 minute for the answer. I'm like, man, do I do this? You're like, I'm not going to tell you. I was like, damn. Ended up not doing it. A lot of pressure from a lot of people around the league. My first thought was, is this like will I get in trouble for doing this? Like, I think the first thing I was text you. I was like, hey, is this would I get in trouble for this? And you're like, probably not. And I was like, okay, that doesn't really help. But, and then my next thought was like, if I trade Hurts and then I, end up beating Matt, which I think I went back into the math, I would have.
Yeah.
Then
you're still at pick 2.
So I traded Hurts to move up 1 spot.
Or you might even still be at pick 3.
I think it depends on points.
No, you're at 2.
Because I think at one point Stroud was hurt, so.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, you'd be at 2, I think.
I'd be at 2, which means I win the neighbors sweepstakes, but.
I don't know. You'd be somewhere, but.
It wouldn't be 1.
Would it?
No,
because you and him would have had the same record.
Myself and
Matt. And he had more points.
Yeah, I think I was picked 2, but then James would have.
But James would have had I don't know. Whatever.
I think James and I would have finished with the same record, but James would have less points than me. I remember going back and doing the math. I'm not doing it again. Don't ask me.
All right, we'll see. Whatever. We'll go on.
So yeah, there was definitely like, I think one of the red flags that I was questioning, like, is this legal? At the same time, though, it was walking the line of like strategy.
Because I think it's just also like a smart move, and I don't want to be like, oh, you made a smart move, let's ban it or something, or like whoever did it. It's also like it hasn't happened in 5 years so far. And this also just goes with like tanking as a whole. It's so hard to quantify tanking when so much of it is subjective. Same thing with like someone is telling, why are you starting this guy instead of this guy? Why are you sitting him and playing him? You're supposed to be setting your best lineup. And it's like, what? Are you forced to start the person that's projected the most points every week? But then you also see like Griff, and I'll be like, Griff, why would, but like he's not trying to lose. And I'm just like, why would he start this guy over this guy? And then sometimes I'm right. At the end, I think I was like, why are you sitting Swift? He's playing the Giants, but it was like he had a bunch of bad weeks. Then sometimes it's also like, why are you playing, like early season, I was like, why are you playing Tank Dell over this guy or something? It's like, Tank Dell dropped 30. And it's like, am I really the one, again, I don't want to take control of people's teams to then be like, why are you playing this guy instead of this guy? And then that guy goes on to score 20 more points. And I was like, oh, I guess I was wrong. Half the time I can't even pick the guys I want to score on my team. I want to win, and it's like, man, I scored. Why did I sit the guy that scored 20 and play this guy? Like, I can't pick who's going to score higher. I don't know how I'm going to pick who's going to score lower. Obviously, there's clear situations. If you're sitting like a starter for a wide receiver 5, yeah, man, probably shouldn't do that one. But I think a lot of these are pretty close. I was thinking of like, do I get people that are outside of the league? Like 3 people. And if someone has a question of, is this guy starting this wrong person just to try to lose, do I go to them and be like, hey man, out of these 2 people, could you like debate them? Or yeah, if it's Tyreek Hill and it's
Alex Yosevich.
yeah, it's whoever, Michael Carter.
Yeah.
You should start Tyreek Hill. But if it's a decent receiver that's maybe now struggling, if it's like
Devontae Adams during that like stretch where he had like 3 points a game.
Yeah, well, again, it depends on who it is. Like, I don't know. I don't want to force people how to run their team, which is the main point I'm trying to get across.
One thing
I think if you want to roster no quarterbacks because everybody has one, sure. You don't have a quarterback, so your team stinks, and you're going to have to get one if you ever want to be good again. So yeah, tanking to get this first pick to draft this guy, hopefully it works out for you, because and if it doesn't, you have nothing on your team. I think you should try to have a full roster, at least.
Yeah.
And if there's someone to be added that could go into your lineup, so you're not starting a backup or someone on bye or something, yeah, you have to do that.
I think what could also be beneficial to us is, obviously we have a lot of ideas about certain scenarios in that spreadsheet. Maybe at some point in the offseason, as a league, we kind of come together, have a bigger discussion of like, all right, what can and can't you do when it comes to like tanking?
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a slippery slope.
It is, and I feel like if the 12 of us come together,
like it won't get anywhere.
It either won't get anywhere, or we'll have like set not like guidelines, but like we'll have a good idea of.
But it's gonna be there's some people thinking this, some people thinking this, and then a few people in the middle that'll probably then end up kind of picking a side. Some people that aren't really gonna budge, and it's again how do you know that this person's gonna score more or less? And I think that's a strategy too. If you're trying to lose, and you're debating this or this, Like, James, like, barely had active running backs on his team this year. Like, you're not forced to, because again, we say it's legal to tank by trading away your players. So the whole Hurts situation is you're tanking by trading away. It's also a win for the person that's getting him. If Trevor is getting Hurts, he's getting an elite QB, like
getting QB3
and getting it for probably a little bit cheaper than it would cost if he did it right now. You probably wouldn't do that trade because you don't have that extra incentive. Like, yeah, if you're on the other side, it's gonna suck. But then it's also like you could make the same deal. You could offer that person, like, again, with the specific situation, it's like you could have traded for Mahomes, but then it's like James is the opposite. James isn't trying to lose, so now you have to overpay to get Mahomes off of his team to then guarantee that your pick's going to get better, but you just traded so much value to do it. Like, I think it's like, will you make this move? Well, then I have to counter with this move, and it's just like kind of like the gameplay, the strategy aspect of it, like, will I make this move? Again, I think then it also gets tough of like, are people going to just like make the trade the second it, like right before it kicks off, so then you can't. I think that's then kind of gets scummy. I guess it's legal, but I guess it's kind of scummy of then it's like, no, you don't have a chance to make this trade or whatever.
I'm almost thinking like,
it's also like, would the deal be then you have to put in your, like, if you have another QB, like you had Minshew, would I have to put in Minshew, like, just to make sure you have a starting lineup? But then what if Minshew dropped 30 and now it's a good team? And now Griff's going to get the bye and he's got Josh Allen and Kyler and he's going to start Kyler, but then Josh Allen dropped 30 on his bench and he already would have won with that. So now he trades Kyler away just so I have to put Josh Allen in, and now he wins. Like, then you could exploit it that way. I don't know. I think it's a fine line between good strategy
and legal,
and then like this is kind of bush league in all of the tanking aspects. Like, it's hard to tell someone who to start. It's hard to tell people who to roster. I think if you're doing things obviously, if there's a QB on the waivers that you're not adding to play, or you're sitting someone and not having anybody in your QB when you have someone playing on your bench, that's illegal. When you're sitting a stud for a fifth string guy, that's illegal. When someone actually plays and you're starting a healthy and active, that's illegal. I think when it's should I start the wide receiver 2 on this team, that's bad, or should I start the wide receiver 3 on this team, that's good? This guy's projected 8.4 points, this guy's projected 6.3, but man, if he catches a touchdown, it could be better. Like, how am I to decide, no, you have to play? Like, that's the hardest part.
It's a tough scenario you're in. I think for right now, we've discussed this a lot, so maybe again it's time to kind of step away for a little bit and reflect. I know this has been an ongoing scenario for months now.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm leaning some way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because then again, it's you can't make trades on Monday. Like, it's dumb, but that's also like a fair point. It's like you're doing a trade now that you could get done that you won't be able to later. What if it was like, hey man, you wanted to trade Hurts, and then what if Hurts tore his ACL in that game and that was worth nothing? And it's like, but you can't because it's like, there's just these scenarios that can happen, and I think it's tough. And then, I don't know, it's sketchy. Also, like, if you ever did it renting wise, we already have a rule you can't rent a player for like a week or two. Yeah, if you have a player the whole season and then you trade him back after, it's like, it's kind of fine. Their value can go up and down. But yeah, if you traded Hurts for that week and then the next week it was like, Stroud for Hurts again, it's like, yeah, that isn't allowed.
Yeah. So, a lot more questions than answers in that one, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'm How also is it gonna happen?
I even think that, like, with the outrage and debate that this has caused, people are like, why would I do that? Again, that will change. Now that I've said that, most likely this coming season.
Yeah.
But
again, it's like if you get a really good offer, you're forced to decline it because
it's Monday.
Something. If he offered you 5 firsts,
I'm doing that in a heartbeat.
but it's like you can't because of this. Like I think that's the hard part of the whole situation. Obviously, if it's like a worse player, if it's Joe Flacco, if you were starting Mac Jones that week and traded him, then it's like, oh, you did it for a 4th. But then why help you? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's another tough thing of it when it's not a good player and it's some bad tight end, and that's the debate now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Still not really a full answer, just thoughts on this one.
Yeah, pretty much. But speaking of thoughts, we have some questions from you guys, so when we come back, we'll answer them. Welcome back. Our final questions for a bit, I think.
We'll see.
We'll see. We got 3. Unless, Adam, you thought of any that you want to ask.
No, one I'll just probably talk about a lot. Because that was kind of my question, but yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to that one last.
Yeah. So
First, Cherry asked, or more of an idea, I think it would be cool over the offseason to have a segment on 10 Sock Talks with a separate league manager interview. Yeah, I thought of that, and I kind of tried to implement it last year. Like, we've had James and Steve on in the season, then we had Zach on, we had Jasmus on. Obviously, I picked the people that were close. We almost had Griff on, but then it was, like, right before the season. But I think, like, I was at, like, a tournament, and, like, when I got back, Griff wasn't going to be around, and then, like, I was like, what about this day? But then you had work or something, and it was like, okay, we'll get you on another time, and then that hasn't happened yet. But
it also doesn't help that, like, right now it is 1:40 in the morning.
Yeah, that's why off season
fucking Thursday.
That's why off seasons are a little easier. It's not.
You can kind of pick a day where it's like, hey.
And a time, yeah, not like after you work, and then when you get back, I go to work, and then I go play frisbee, and then it's then I don't get back till like 11, and then it's like, let's start.
Why the fuck does Ryan always yawn so much? Like, bro, I've been awake since 5 a.m.
Hey man, you didn't just play a game of frisbee.
Shut the fuck up. What time did you wake up today?
I don't know, like 9.
Fuck you.
It's also, we used to do these earlier.
Yeah.
You'd still be on.
Shut the fuck
We'd
up.
be doing them at like, because we only started going way late once I started playing frisbee, which was like
and once I
5 weeks ago.
For the first like,
this is like a dumb argument between us.
It really is. The first 13 weeks of the show, like last year,
I
didn't have a job, so I was just like, yeah, I'm around at 2:00 on a Tuesday.
Yeah, and then I'd go to work right after. This year, though, it was pretty fine for a while because I didn't really have much on Wednesdays, and I'd get back and we'd do it at like 8.
Yeah.
And then you were also the reason for a while because then you were playing in like a softball league or something. So then you'd be like, oh, I'm not going to be back till like 9:30.
Yeah, I was playing volleyball. Yeah.
So then I was like, then you'd get back. So you can't complain. You were the one.
Fuck you.
Just the last like 4 or 5 weeks, it's been me, and that's definitely pushed it back. But
yeah. It's
you were yawning when it was like 8.
I had been up since 5. All right, but yeah.
We're gonna try to do that. I don't know what the best way is because obviously, like, it's easy when it's in person. Not expecting James to fly home or Zach to drive up or anybody to drive more than 20, 30 minutes maybe to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think
if
Griff's still close enough, and Jasmus is close, and I don't even know where Matt is now.
He's somewhere. We don't know where Matt is, but he's somewhere.
We've lost Matt. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll do like a Zoom. I don't know. I don't know if those would ever get up with Ryan having to edit that.
I think if we had
That'd be an audio only episode.
If we had a guest, I would probably make sure it gets out and not do any stupid shit with it, because
the Zach interview took 3 months.
Okay, man.
Zach was like, "Oh, I was winning the championship last week. That got up in August."
Okay, to be fair, it was like we did that, and then I was like immediately on vacation.
Yeah. And then, like, we filmed another segment, and then it was, like, 3 weeks after that it got up. And it's like, Zach forgot he did the interview. He's like, I guess I can watch this one. I forgot I was here.
Yeah, because that one we had the Zach interview, and then, like, another episode, but we couldn't record the other part of the episode till, like, weeks later.
Or was it just...
I will go back into my phone and look at, like, when we recorded each part.
But, yeah. We'll figure out something. Maybe there'll just be a voice. It'll just be a phone call. They'll be on the phone. That audio will probably be great.
Yeah,
or
dude.
maybe we just like...
I would actually need to bring the microphone back.
Or we could
You guys remember the microphone that used to be right here?
There's some way to like screen record probably.
You can screen record Zoom calls.
Where then we could just Zoom and this could be it. Them here and us.
Yeah, and then in the corner, just the other part of the set.
Yeah, that's fine.
Why not? We'll just put the laptop like here and...
Or just looking at us. We wouldn't need that, right?
Oh, yeah.
We would also get us.
We could also turn our camera off, the one here.
Yeah, you're going to edit that overlay, though?
No, I'm just going to... If you're going to screen record it, you're going to email the video to me, and then I'm going to just...
Put us on where?
I'm just going to have the... I'll probably just make the video small enough where it fits like here over the laptop. That's not that hard. That I shouldn't fuck up.
You made a whole episode green, so
okay, but that was from After Effects. I'm trying some bullshit. Okay.
A slide transition that's like shit. The episode's green.
That's not fucking After Effects.
Whatever.
You don't know anything about this. Shut the fuck up.
I know some, but not much.
You know none.
Some.
This isn't question. This is just Ryan and Adam argue.
Yeah, some good times.
Whose fault is it?
I'm the content.
It's probably mine. You're the research guy.
I'm the guy that talks the whole time. That rambles for 3 hours.
Trying to get like, I think that, but actually, I'm like, all right, I guess
we're taking his nap over here. All right.
Okay.
Griff asked, "Who's gonna be the first day at 250?" I was also like, before or after Superflex, because we are adding the new flex. 3 flexes this year. Our highest score as of right now is 218.
Pretty good.
Do we think that gets broken this year with the extra flex?
I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna cut you.
Fuck you. I'm gonna say no, because I think when we add the extra flex, I don't think it's not like we're adding the flex and like every team all of a sudden is going to be getting 20 to 30 extra points each week.
Yeah, it's not CMC going into the flex.
It's Roshan Johnson.
I want to do the math quick, so you talk.
I get to talk? Ooh, okay. But yeah, I don't think the flex... There are some teams where it's like, Zach might be throwing Aaron Jones in, where it's like Aaron Jones could easily get 10 or 15, stuff like that. But, like, for me, like, who's my flex right now? Alec Pierce?
Yeah, I was starting Pierre.
Yeah, you were starting Pierre Strong at RB2.
If you go to Cherry's team... Oh my god. Was this the best team ever? His championship win, it's kind of messed up. I think 30, 40, 90, 100, 140. Yeah, he had like two to three people on his bench drop like almost 30. So I guess if you plug those guys in, he would have been at like 248 when that happened. I looked at Trevor this year, who was our highest scorer this year, put up like 195. He had people on his bench put up like 15, so he could have got to like 210. Currently, we only have 7 people that have broken 7 weeks that it's been broken of 200 points. I think we maybe see that uptick a little, like maybe, because it's also tough, because a lot of times that last spot is like kind of like a flyer guy.
Yeah.
Of like,
does Alec Pierce get the long bomb?
Yeah.
Today?
Does he catch a 70-yard touchdown and get 15 points? If he does, it's like that could get some of those 180s, 190s to over 200.
I think the third flex almost benefits the teams that have multiple first-round picks. It's like myself, you, Cherry, where it's like instead of having a random flyer guy like Alec Pierce, or it's like, I guess more of a flyer, but it's a rookie where it's like they can get a little bit more consistency.
Yeah, I don't agree
at all.
I think this benefits like Griff and Zach and Trevor, the good deep teams, where it's like the guys that we're drafting with our first, it's like, hopefully he's my RB1. Hopefully this guy's my wide receiver 2. Like, I need that. I'm not like, this pick's a luxury pick that'll be my third flex sometimes. It's like, we need people that are going to be reasonable starters on our team.
Okay. What I'm saying is that, or that guy will then bump one of our starters. Like, I would be perfectly okay with Gabe Davis being my third flex.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying that while it might not be the rookie itself in that third flex, it's bumping a guy that, like, hey, we were confident enough to start him last year at a flex spot. You feel a little bit better about starting him.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Some of those, like, big boom or bust guys. But, again, I just think it's going to help teams that are deep and have really good rosters and can find these guys to plug in. I also think it'll help some of these maybe like older guys kind of get like I think Adam Thielen's value goes up because I think he's like a great flex guy. Again, not like Adam Thielen's worth a first, but I think once you start getting old, it's like then it's old and it's like iffy. Now if you could kind of plug him in and be like, Thielen will get me like 10 points, it's like that's pretty solid. And again, that's another guy on Zach's team who was, him and Aaron Jones were like sitting for a bunch at the end of the year, and Jaden Reed. Now he gets to add one of those guys to his team. Again, people could get worse. Same thing with Trevor though. Like by the end of the year, he was sitting, like Jacobs was hurt. He was sitting T. He was sitting like DK. You get those guys in. Griff, there was weeks where he was sitting like Tony Pollard, who again was a little disappointing, and like this was like pre-Tank Dell breakout, and it was like, man, when you got to put that as your third flex instead, just gonna help some of those good teams get better. If you were super reliant on just like a starting lineup, and now your flex is gonna be who knows, I think that's kind of that hard spot of like, oh, I got like 6 studs, but now it's like now I have 3 flexes that are all up in the air. Yeah, but I do agree that like the Flyers are gonna give a little bit more. Yeah, Gabe Davis in the flex feels a lot better than Gabe Davis at wide receiver 2.
Yeah,
because if you get a 0, it's like, that sucks. But if you get 30, it's like that wins a week. So definitely helps with some.
He'll be getting 30 every week in Carolina next year, so it doesn't matter. But
yeah. And then the last question came from Trevor, and this is, I think, the big question. How do you see QB's values in the upcoming rookie draft, given there's a couple years till the Superflex change takes place? I think I'm going to look at it from a bigger scope, too, of like not just the rookie draft, but also just like
in general.
As a whole. Like, I'm really interested to see what the first QB trade involve will be.
Yeah.
Like, do you think you could answer first. You could go draft or just value in general or whatever.
For the draft, I wouldn't be shocked if we see Caleb Williams or Drake May go. I would say this year, late first. I wouldn't be surprised. I would also, if they went early second, I'd be like, yeah, I could see that too.
I think the thing is, if you look at previous drafts, Burrow was like 201. Bryce Young was 201. I mean, obviously, Lawrence was early, but then early second was like Justin Fields and
Trey
Lance, yeah. I think a lot of times like Kyler, I think, was 201 too.
Yeah.
So it's like usually it's been like that first pick of the second round has been that first QB drafted. So besides the Lawrence pick, but do you think what would be the earliest a QB goes that you could imagine?
I would say 1-9.
Interesting.
I'm thinking about like the draft class and maybe
I've seen mock drafts at like 1 QB drafts where Caleb was projected to go 1-9. I earliest I could see is like 1-4, 1-5.
I could see it. I don't know if it would happen.
I think the whole strategy of the...
Are you just announcing that like you're taking Caleb Williams at pick 4?
I'm saying he's not off the table yet. Could take
Trade
him
for pick 4 now.
Not. I obviously think Marv is probably going up over him in some super flex leagues. Same thing with like Neighbors. I think he'd probably go after him in most super flex leagues, like is true, but then it's like, yeah, you have Bowers, you have Dunze, you have some of these other guys, but like,
I'll say this.
If you're a bad team right now, like, and you're thinking of it from like an investment, if you get Caleb Williams at 1-6, 1-7, 1-8, whatever, and he is as good as people say he is, I think then in maybe not this year you don't see the value, but maybe in another year it's like, oh, it's 2 years away now, and then 3 years he's now entering his year 2, year 3, playing really good, and if he's looked at as like a top 5, 7, 8 QB, it's like, oh, now you want to trade for him? Yeah, it's 2 firsts and a receiver. And it's like hard to get. I don't think any receiver's going to turn into that you're getting, like, I guess maybe like a running back, like, I don't know. Obviously if it fails, it fails, and it doesn't help you right now unless you need a QB, but if you're also like, I'm not going to win the championship for the next year or two, who cares about helping you right now? Like, why not take this guy that in 2 years from now, looking back, it's like he should have been 101 if it was super flex, like something like that. Again, QBs are risky too, so it could be tough, but I think Caleb definitely goes first round. I'd be shocked if he's there in the second.
Okay.
I don't know if...
I was going to say I think he goes late, but then as we get closer to 2027, I think the QBs are going to inch up the first round, where it's like...
When do you think we basically just turn into a super flex?
I almost want to say the 2026 draft.
I
think at that point, you're like...
2 years away, it's like, I need to get a QB now if I'm going to want to have one.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I get this QB right now. I'll let, like, before I have to put him in my lineup, I'll let him have that kind of, like, rite of passage first year. Like, for instance, just because I want to be optimistic, say we were super flex and we were going to super flex next year, that's where, like, Bryce Young can really help, where it's like, if he gets better next year, you're starting him then. Right now, you're okay to have him on the bench and let him cook.
Yeah. I think, too, with talking about the draft, I think we'll probably see more QBs drafted than normal, because I think, like, normally it was just like first round guys. I think now maybe you get some like later QBs kind of, I'll take a shot on this guy. I think maybe we get a few more QBs taken in the second round. Like again, Herbert went like third round that draft. Hurts was like undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't think
I believe Herbert was undrafted too.
Maybe. I thought he was third.
I think
he could have been undrafted.
Yeah, no, because I think Evan and I had a conversation where it's like we really got like 2 top 10 QBs for Fab.
Which is insane because in one QB it doesn't matter about these guys, and then now they're going to be like first round picks in a few years, which obviously huge difference, and I think we'll start to see some of it this year, but I think the 4 years away it's crazy. But I also wonder what like strategies, like I think this is the most open you could be with a team right now. You could say, I'm going all in until we get to Superflex. And it's like, I don't know. If Trevor wanted to now, it's like, trade Lamar, trade Stroud, survive with like QBs, and go get like, again, I don't know what the value is going to be, but it's like, if you get another really solid running back and a really solid tight end and a really solid receiver for those two, and it's like your team is loaded for these next few years. Yeah, when it gets to Superflex, now you don't have a cornerstone QB, it's like that might hurt a little bit. Will someone kind of rebuild for Superflex? And especially if we're thinking like the 2026-ish season is where it's going to kind of be like pretty true value to get there in the draft and that season and stuff. It's like, do I just start hoarding QBs? This year, do I take Caleb at 4, Drake May at 7 if he's there, Jaden Daniels like later, and then Penix, and be like, I got all of them, and just start hoarding QBs while they're cheap, and then now 3 years from now, it's like, oh, you want a QB? You got to come to me, and I'll make you pay for it. Like, do we see a team do that? Which I think could be an interesting tactic. Who's going to value them where? Who's going to say, screw it? Who's going to go all in? Who's going to... I don't know. I think it'll be very interesting. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what anybody's going to do. It'll be great when you go into a trade and someone's like, Superflex is so far away. Just give me Hurts for cheap. And then you're like, I want 9 firsts. And then they're like, what? And then it's like, where are people going to meet in the middle?
Yeah.
A lot of open to interpretation.
I feel like right now, like you want to trade a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you're going to see your typical, I'll give you a third. I think guys like Stroud, Hurts, the young good quarterbacks, I think we're already going to see a price hike.
Yeah.
And it's going to only get larger as we get closer.
Yeah, get closer to what it would be in that traditional Superflex. But I also think it's interesting, again, it is so far away, that some of them are not even going to be affected at all. Rodgers, he's not going to be playing when we add
Russell Wilson.
Not going to be playing. Carr, not going to be playing. Stafford, not going to be playing. Again, these QBs can go till like 40, but they're all like 35-ish. I also think it'll be interesting. What, Mahomes is like 28. Josh Allen's like 28. Dak's like 30. Burrow's like 27. Lamar's 28.
26.
Oh, is he only 26?
I'm pretty sure
he might be 20.
He's younger than Burrow.
Yeah, you're right.
Burrow was pretty
older.
Old coming out of college.
He was like a redshirt senior or something.
Yeah.
But, so like by the time we hit Superflex, Dak's going to be 34, 35-ish. Like,
Adam's like, fuck, I gotta get rid of him now.
I already got rid of him.
Oh. Fuck, I gotta get rid of Burrow now.
But it's like Burrow's going to be like 31. Again, 31 isn't the same for a QB as it is a running back or even like receiver. Like, you could play Burrow could play to 31 and then have 7 more great seasons after that. But then again, like, we've also seen people like your boy Cam, where it's like,
why you gotta do that?
You took a beating and then you got to 30 and then you kind of fell off.
Why couldn't you just say Mark Sanchez?
Mark Sanchez was never really good for fantasy.
Why you gotta do that to me?
Because he was a good example. But like,
do you know that was my highest score of 2018?
Was like, but okay, Josh Allen's body, Lamar, like some of these running QBs, again, You're like running QBs could get hurt more. Are they going to kind of be beat up by the time? Like, is it going to be dumb to trade for a Lamar or a Hurts? They ban the tush push and all this other stuff. Like, would it be dumb to trade for them? Like, oh, they're taking a beating. Josh Allen's taking a beating. He's getting hit. Justin Fields is getting hit like crazy. It's like by the time they get there, they're going to be 31 by the time it's around, or like 30 or whatever age. It's like, man, could we start seeing them stop running, kind of decline, kind of have that like Russ trajectory of like, oh, he was dominant, and it was like then he'd be pretty good, and now it's fallen off, and it's like I'm buying a guy now for the future, where like, dude, he could blow out his knee twice before it gets here. I don't know. I'm very interested to see how it plays out, because I really have no idea, and I don't think if anybody has like a good idea, I think it'll have to be like chicken in the draft. Who's going to be the one to take a QB? Everybody's like, I mean, Superflex draft says he's the 101. Should I take Caleb? Then it's like, now he's falling to 7, and so someone like, should I trade up? Should I try to get him here? Does he keep falling? I don't know. I think it'll be like, even for like some of our like mock drafts that everybody does, I think it's going to be so hard. Do I plug him in at 101? 105, 106? Do I wait until 201 like normal? I don't know. It'll be very interesting. Gonna be fun to see how it plays out.
Absolutely. And I think that just about does it. So this is our last in season, or our first off season. First off season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for watching. I know this is a long one. We had a couple short ones for you, so we gave you some content this week. Thank you for watching as normal, and we will see you next time.